I'm just gonna... Testing. Okay. What's up? Hear me out. The leaked story Didophobia from the new FNAF book seems to finally be clearing up the confusing tangle in the timeline that is FNAF 4. And although this story has a lot to offer in terms of lore, what the story really solidifies to me is a suspicion I've had for a long time. That being that Mike isn't an Afton. Now, keep in mind, this is a leaked story. It could be modified before release, and although my sources are credible, I can't read it myself until the book officially releases, so beware. But to briefly summarize Didophobia, the story is about a kid named Rory who has nightmares of animal-themed robots coming from his closet, his doors, and from under his bed. Eventually, Rory explores the house he's been living in and finds out that not everything is as it seems. He finds out that he's actively being drugged with hallucinogenic gas that's been warping his perception of reality for a long time. After finding this out, he turns off whatever's emitting the gas and finds out that the house he's been living in was very different from what he had perceived it to be. The nightmares were actually just costume mannequins on rails. He also wasn't a child, at least not anymore. In the book, it's revealed that Rory was kidnapped at the age of 7 and placed into this experiment, and said experiment had been left running long after it had been abandoned, leaving Rory trapped in this fake reality for 10 years longer than he was supposed to be. He continues to explore and finds an underground bunker under his house. He's about to destroy the whole operation before a voice tells him to stop. It tells him how he's a special person and how he deserves to be in a special place. It tells him how this place has kept him safe and how he deserves to be safe and secure and never alone. Rory turns the gas back on and returns to his fake reality, and as he does, the cassette player stops, rewinds, for the next time Rory goes too far. So, cool story, bro. But what is this Black Mirror-esque story actually trying to tell us? Well, you saw the title of the video. A house built upon a bunker should sound all too familiar. That's literally the plot of Sister Location. In that game, we actually see that the FNAF 4 house is built on top of the underground facility on the Breaker Room map. Additionally, in the private room, you can type in the code 1983 to get security camera footage of the FNAF 4 house. These rooms are even called Observation 1 and Observation 2 on the Breaker Room panel. For the longest time, Sister Location has been implying that the fever dream of FNAF 4 was an experiment, but we really didn't know the specifics up until now. Considering Michael draws Nightmare Fredbear in his logbook, it's pretty obvious that in the game's continuity, he is the subject of these experiments. And I'd take it one step further and even argue that, like Rory in the story, he was too kidnapped and adopted into the Afton family. Here's my evidence. Midnight Motorist. Midnight Motorist is a confusing-ass minigame, but I think I finally solved it. I always found it weird this minigame was so weird. FNAF 6 was all about tying up loose ends, and all the minigames, for the first time, were actually straight up telling us shit we needed to know. So what was this minigame trying to tell us? Well, I think it was trying to reveal the origins of our series protagonist, Michael. I mean, think about it. His role as series protagonist was revealed in the previous game, and yet we knew nothing about him. It only makes sense to give us some context behind his origins for the final game in the original series, the one in which he dies. Now, let me give you my interpretation of this minigame in context with this theory. I think the yellow man is Mike's biological father. Not William Afton, a different guy. I think the TV person could possibly be his mother. Junior's is definitely a bar, and Mike is the only child of a dysfunctional family, with his father being a violent, abusive drunk, and his mother neglecting him, choosing to drown out her problems with TV. In the minigame, Mike's father comes home to find out that his son's door is locked, and him, being drunk and angry, walks around to the back of the house and approaches his son's window, only to find that the window is broken and that his son has run away, with 2 animal footprints seemingly luring him away. He says that he has run off to that place again and that he'll be sorry when he gets back. But what does that mean? I believe that place is Fredbear's, and I think that's where he'd go to escape from his family, maybe even growing an attachment to the popular rabbit character that Afton dressed up as. However, this night was different. Instead of him running away to seek solace in the characters at Fredbear's, the Yellow Rabbit, Spring Bonnie, had come to visit him, convincing him to break out of his room and run away with him to somewhere else, somewhere far from home. It is then I think that Mike was experimented on in the FNAF 4 bedroom. The why is unclear. I plan to make a follow-up theory explaining Afton's motives in more detail, because I think this new story, Didophobia, the whole, the importance that's laid on this FNAF 4 experiment that wasn't really, that important before. I think it fucks with the timeline, and Afton's motives a lot. So I'm going to make a video explaining it in relation to this theory and, kind of making the lore connect a little better. But that's a future video. I think that the experiment was probably just to experiment with Agony or Remnant or something, but once again, I'll go more in depth in a future video. I think after these experiments concluded, however, William, for some reason, didn't want to kill him off. Maybe he grew an attachment to him, maybe one of his kids grew an attachment to him, whatever it is, Afton adopted him into the family, and assuming Mike was young enough when he was kidnapped, he probably didn't know the truth behind his origins up until such a location. This then explains why he goes by the last name Schmidt in FNAF 1. Considering his motivations for even going to the FNAF restaurants is to hunt his father down, it only makes sense that the revelations that caused him to embark on this quest to begin with would make him want to distance himself from the family that had stolen him away. Need more proof? Just look at his behavior in FNAF 4. Now, I get that older brothers can be mean, and I get they were 10 times meaner in the 80s, apparently, according to the movies, but I mean, one of his pranks literally included putting a kid up to the jaws of one of the robots. That's kind of fucked up. It's commonly known that adopted/relocated children can be difficult to control and can be emotionally distant from their new families at first. Additionally, children from dysfunctional families like Michael are known to exhibit bad behavior. And on top of that, Michael bullies the crying child by jump-scaring him with a Foxy mask, similar to how the animatronics jump-scared him in FNAF 4. God, it makes so much sense. Anyways, and if all that evidence wasn't enough, the novel trilogy's second book, The Twisted Ones, released only a year after Sister Location. In those books, the idea of Afton taking something and raising it as his own is a huge plot point. And I know these books exist within a separate continuity, but considering all these ideas are coming out of Scott Cawthon's brain, it isn't crazy to think that he was trying to implement something similar into the story of his games. Is your mind blown yet? If not, then let me leave you with this.
Another day, another dramatic entry in the lives of Vlad and his distressed mistress. Where will they go? What will they do? All of that and more happening now.
Clara, I tell you, the baby isn't mine!
That's right, Vlad. The baby isn't yours. And it never was. I know this theory conflicts with a lot of the things we thought we knew about Afton, and I'm planning on making another video explaining Afton's motivations and origins in a way that connects with this theory, because I really think that it just feels right. It feels a lot more fitting with some of the newer stuff we're getting. But with all that, thank you for watching, and also thank you for 200 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and always, thank you for watching.